How are you guys doing today? Come on. Okay, so for yesterday's class, you're supposed to study the review sheet. Did you guys study the review sheet? No, why not? That was your work. Instead of coming to the class, you're supposed to do the review sheet on your own. Okay, originally I said the exam will be on 28, right? And then I found out that the last date to drop the class is 30th. Okay? So if I give you exam on 28, I also have 2 other classes exam on 28. So there is no way I can finish grading everything in one day, like 90 exams. There's no way I can finish them. Okay? So we are done at 1.6. We just have 2 or 3 questions to talk about. So what if I give you the exam on this Tuesday instead of the following Tuesday? Tuesday. Because if you don't take the exam on Tuesday, then we are going to start chapter 2, section 1, 2.1, 2.2, those things. They will not be in the exam anyway. So why not take the exam on Tuesday, next week Tuesday, so you'll be over with it and I'll have time to grade your exam and then you can see where you're standing in the class.
Wait, so this day?
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly what will be in the exam. And you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday no school. So you have 3 days to prepare yourself. Plus, I already gave you the review sheet long time ago, right? Ellen, what did you say?
Oh, what's that?
1.5678. Let me tell you what will be in the exam. What exactly will be in the exam? Because there's no way I can grade 90 exam in one day, but the last day to drop the class is on 30th. So I definitely have to grade the exam on 29 before 30th. And there are some people that need to drop. So they have to see their exam score. So I'm in a tight spot. Okay. Let me tell you what will be in the exam. If you see what will be in the exam, probably you have a confidence of taking it next Tuesday. I didn't make the exam yet, but this is my plan. Let me start with the what problem.
Wait. What was the review of? What did I?
On Brightspace. Plus, I emailed you day before yesterday, and I told you what will be in the exam. I wanted to make my exam based on the final exam. And let's see, from 1.8, all of these questions are actually from the final exam. So I didn't even know which one to put because all of these are important. We have 1 hour, 15 minutes. This is market equilibrium. This is market equilibrium. Linear acid price demand for the equation. Okay, this one I'm going to skip. These are only looking for equations, so let me skip them. This is also market equilibrium. So one question from market equilibrium. Then we have monthly overhead cost. So you have demand cost and you're maximizing profit. Maybe I can give this in the derivative portion. So let me skip that. Average cost. So one from 6, 7, 8, and one from 11, 12. Question number 10, I'm going to give you later in derivative section. I think it will be easier with the derivative. 1.7, all of these with multiple parts. So first, I'm going to give you an expanded version. You are going to convert this into circle form. And then from this circle, you're going to find the center, domain, range. Domain and range, they depend on your R. So as long as you know your R and you know your center, you can see your domain and range. And question number 1 could be a simple one because you're not doing any math. You're just converting this information into center form, circle form. So 1 and the rest from 2 to 2, 3, one question with multiple parts. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of these, I'm going to give a lot because you're not doing any math for graphing. You're just observing your highest degree or the total degree and figure out the end behavior. And then based on the end behavior and the x-intercept, you're finding your graph. So these shouldn't take long. Question number 6 and 7, with all of these, I'll say, how many you want? The graphing questions. Any suggestion? You're not going to graph it, you're just going to identify it. How many? Sayon?
They're looking all the
We don't have class on Friday. Friday is a Monday schedule. And we have Thursday. Which date is Thursday? So 21 is Tuesday. 23 is Thursday. Do you want to take it on Thursday?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so 23 and we have 7 days. So yeah, I can give you that. Thursday. We have class Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So 23, okay. But we are going to start 2.1 on Tuesday because we are behind. So you have to start 2.1. It will not be in the exam. And I'm not going to do any review because I'm only telling you what will be in the exam. So over the weekend, you're going to study these questions. Yeah. October 23, exam 2. I'm going to write announcement on Brightspace. So any preference for how many questions you want for graphing? No. You suck. I was going to give you at least 5. Not quiz, exam. Your exam is on Thursday. At least 5. In the final exam, you'll have at least 1 to 2, definitely. So William, since you are sucks, probably you should study them. Study with someone or watch YouTube videos like how do you graph polynomials? Okay, so we actually explained in details in class how do you identify the graphs. And whatever you don't understand, Google it, like on YouTube. How do you graph polynomial using end behavior or those? They're not actually bad, they're actually fun because you're not doing any math. No math, you're just identifying the highest degree and then behavior. Calculator, no. Here it says only based on the end behavior, figure out the end behavior of this type of polynomial. So I'm going to give you 4 because we have 4 types of end behavior. Do you remember when you have positive, instead of writing down letter, I should just a symbol. Positive coefficient with even power. That's one end behavior. Then we have negative coefficient with even power. So this is like x squared, this is like negative x squared. Then we have positive coefficient with odd power. It's like positive x cubed. And negative coefficient with odd power. It's like negative x cubed. So all you have to do is remember these 4 shape of these 4 graphs, and then every other odd or even they follow the same end behavior. So x squared means it's upward, the parabola. Negative x squared means both sides are going downward. Cubic means this, so left is going down, right is going up. Negative x cubed, the left is going up, right is going down. So when you write them, you write as x goes to the negative infinity, how y is going. So this part you have to fill out. Or as x goes to positive infinity, how y is going. So I'm going to give you negative x and positive x. It means when x is going to the left side, for example here, x is going to the left side, how y is going. So for this scenario, our y is going up. So you're at infinity for y. This one is saying when x is going to the right side. So this is our right side. When x is going to the right side, your y is going downward. So this should be negative infinity. So you have to memorize these 4 rules. That's it. Or you even have to memorize, just remember your 4 graphs. Positive x squared, negative x squared, positive x cubed, negative x cubed. Identify odd, even, or neither. So 4 of these, at least 5, 6 of these. Transformation, let me skip for now. Now, what problems in maximum, minimum? So maximum, minimum, they have either maximum or minimum height or those, or the y value is given. So for example here, height is given, you're solving for x value. Or you're looking for the vertex. There are only 2 things you have to do in 1.5 for one problem of the quadratic. If they're asking for find the maximum or minimum of anything, that means you're looking for the vertex. So maximum or minimum, it means vertex. Find the vertex. Depending on what they're looking for, you find either only the x value, or you find both x and y value. If you're not sure, find both of them. And I'm going to take off 1 point for finding whatever for for you fail to figure out what they're looking for, okay? So anytime you see maximum, minimum, find both below the vertex X and Y. If you're lucky, you get full point. And if you cannot identify what they're looking for, X or the Y, I'm going to just take off 1 point. Okay, for example, here, find the maximum height. See the word maximum, find the vertex. For how many units you have maximum profit? Maximum, find the vertex. Maximum, find the vertex. Minimum, or it says break-even quantity. Break-even quantity. So break-even is when cost and revenue are equal. So if it's a quadratic formula, anytime you say quadratic, find the vertex, okay? Maximum, minimum for quadratic. Maximum, minimum for quadratic. If it's not a quadratic function, then vertex doesn't exist. You're looking for something different. But for now, when you see maximum or minimum of a quadratic equation, that means they are looking for the vertex. Only one scenario, find the vertex. And then here for the 8, they give you the height and they're looking for X value. So either Y is given and you're looking for X, or you're looking for X and Y in your vertex. There are only 2 scenarios in quadratic. Read the question carefully and figure out which scenario is given. So sometimes Y will be equal to 0. For example, when the ball, you're throwing a ball upward and it hits the ground, they're asking when the ball hits the ground. That means you're given the height, Y equals 0. So Y is given equals 0, you're solving for X. Or in this equation, they're saying when the ball will reach at 7 feet. The 7 feet is the height of the ball. It means the Y is given. So Y is given, find the X. So either Y will be given, you're looking for X, or they're looking for the maximum or minimum value of your vertex. Only 2 scenarios. Read the question carefully and then figure out which one. So I'm going to give one for maximum, minimum, and one from Y value is given. We did most of these questions in details in class, okay? So whatever you forgot, revisit the lectures. And now lastly here, there will be one question about vertex, symmetry, x-intercept, y-intercept graph. All of them. Now, I don't remember what type of question they give in the final exam, but if I find anything given from here, then I'll give one. So I'll see the whole final and see if they give you anything from this, then you'll have one. If they don't give you anything, then I'm going to skip that. But definitely question number 1, 2 questions from maximum, minimum of the vertex and the Y value. 1 question about odd even. 4 parts about finding the end behavior. At least 5, 6 identifying graph. And lastly, the center, the circle, all about circle. And then 2 questions about, one is equilibrium and one is about cost. That's all. So total how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Around 10 questions with multiple parts. Not bad, right? In the final exam, you have to do 30 questions in 2 hours. Okay, now here is another question. Do you want to have a calculator part? Did you learn how to find how to solve x-intercept or how to solve for x in your calculator? No, right? One day, bring your calculator and then I'm going to show you everything. So for this exam, okay, I'm not going to give you calculator part, but in the final exam, you do have a calculator part. I mean, you don't have to know everything, But for some questions, if you know how to use calculator, the life is easy. So to make your life easy, you can use calculator. Why I don't do calculator much? Because I don't like calculator. I want you to learn without using calculator how to find everything. In this exam, I'm not going to give you any calculator. In this exam. But in the final exam, you definitely have 8 questions in the calculator portion. 8. In-class exam? The in-class exam or the final? In-class? I didn't make the exam yet, so I have no idea. But it will be 30-70, 70% multiple choice. So no correct work means no credit. And correct work, you get full credit. And 30% written with partial credit. Or 60-40, I'll see. For multiple choice, messing up sign means then you get points. For partial credit, you get at least some point if something is correct. Of course not. You miss your minus sign, so how can you get full point? Okay. For every mistake, you have to be punished. Otherwise, how can you remember not to make the same mistake again? Because that question was in non-calculator part. Sorry, non-partial credit part. Because it is multiple choice. Multiple choice don't get partial credit. It was a multiple choice. I just didn't give you the choices. But I told you that this portion doesn't have any partial credit. Why I don't give multiple choice? It's because people simply circle and don't do any work, which I hate to see. Or people do half work and then circle the answer, and then I have to guess the rest. Did you guess it correctly, or did you copy from someone else? Or did you do half correctly on your own and then just copy the answer from someone else? Like, you made me in 2 boats. Like, which boat are you supposed to go in? Believing you or believing you cheated? Like, you see my position? So that's why I don't give you the choices, because I want you to come up with the choice. And then I'll trust you. Oh, good. That's why I give choices for few, not all. Did you notice that? In the last exam, I gave you choices for few. And I do that all the time. Like, few multiple choice, have multiple choice, have the choices. But for few, you have to come up with the choices. Which one makes sense? Sayam, question? No? Someone raise hand.
30 off.
Do you want to have extra credit? Oh, overall, no. The department doesn't let us. Pedro. I already told you what to be in the exam. See here, I posted this sheet long ago, and I told you what will be from this sheet, what will be in the exam. So I expect to see similar question, not the exact question. Similar question of whatever we have here. 2 word problems from 1.8, 2 questions from 1.7. Look, it's recording, so you can watch the recording again. And I wrote it down here. 1 question from 11-12, 1 question from 6-7-8, 1 question from number 1.7, 1 question combining 2-3. So 1 question with multiple parts. Then identifying graphs, at least 5-6. Come up with the end behavior. We have 4 types of end behavior, so 4 of them. Finding odd or even function, 1. Then what problem for quadratic? As long as you have a quadratic equation and they're asking for maximum, minimum, you're going to find the vertex. If you don't know which part they're asking for, X value or the Y value, find both of them. I'm telling you again, find both, and then I'm just going to punish you for one by taking off 1 point for not recognizing what they're looking for. And if the y value is given, that means you are setting the equation equals to that number, solve for x. Two of them. And then definitely one about all of these vertex, x-of symmetry, x-y intercept graphing. And based on all final, if I see anything they gave from 2, 3, 4, I'm going to give 1. That's all. And your exam is 36 days. Next week, Thursday. Okay. And Tuesday, we are going to start derivative, chapter 2. And today, we are going to learn the rest of 1.8, which is only a few topics. And most of them we already learned. We're just going to revisit whatever we learned before. So from the beginning, 1.8 talks about demand function, supply function. And if you forgot what they are, supply means if you are a producer, you want to see how much you have to supply. So based on your money, if you have high selling price, you want to supply more. If you don't see high selling price, you want to supply less. For demand, it's the other way around. If the price is less, we demand more. If the price is more, we demand less. So demand and supply, they're opposite of one another. Usually the supply function is upward positive, because when the money is more, if demand is more. Sorry, when the money is more, you do more supply. And your demand function is negative, because when the money is more, your demand goes down. So supply is a positive function, demand is a negative function. And when the supply and demand are same, we call it market equilibrium. When the supply and demand same. And so we know supply, we know demand. Now we want to think about revenue. You're supplying and the seller are selling them, how much money they get back. So previously in section 1.2 or somewhere, we learned that revenue is number of item times price per item. Do you remember that? If you are selling 1 pen for $2, then your revenue for selling 5 pen is how much? 1 pen is $2 and you are selling 5 pens. So how much is your revenue? Huh? You are selling 1 pen for $2 and you are selling 5 pens. So how much is your revenue? $10. Number of items times the selling price. That's the revenue. Here, we don't have selling price, we have demand. So we get the revenue in terms of demand. It's number of item times the demand per item. So it's same as X times the demand function. Previously, it was X times price of the X, and now it's X times the demand for that X. Okay? Now, since we have revenue, we also want to look for cost function. So previously in 1.2, we said cost function is a linear function. Well, it doesn't always have to be linear. Depending on your scenario, either you get a linear function or you get a non-linear function. In this section, our cost function is non-linear. For example, this is a quadratic cost function. And it's the same thing. How much money you have to spend if you want to buy something. That's the cost function. And profit is revenue minus cost. Same as what you learned before. So previously, the revenue was cost times price. Price times item. And now the revenue is price times demand. Item times demand. But the cost is same. It will be given to you. And we also talked about overhead cost. Overhead cost is a fixed amount, like your monthly rent. It's fixed. It's your overhead cost. or your monthly bill, or your something that is always fixed. It's overhead. Any expense incurred to support the business while not being directly related to a specific product or service is the overhead cost. And economists define a related function which averages the overhead cost. So if you want to average your overhead cost, then we get a new function, and that is called the average cost function. So the normal cost is the total cost, how much you're spending to buy something. That's your cost. The average cost is the average of your overhead costs. And that average cost has a formula. It's the total cost divided by how many units you're going to buy. In this scenario, how many units you have to produce, because here you are seller. Sorry, here you're a producer. You're producing items. So your average cost is the total cost to produce whatever item divided by how many items you have to produce. It's just like normal average. The average of 4 exam is the total of 4 exam divided by 4. So the average of the cost is total cost divided by how many items you have. And the last thing is marginal cost. Since you're a producer, so you're producing items in a mass production, right? It's not like us, like producing 1 or 2 things. A producer has to produce everything in a mass production. So when you produce a mass production, you have a fixed number to work with. But let's say something happens and you want to produce more. So let's say normally you produce 100 items per day, normally. But then something happened and you have to produce more than 100. So the marginal cost is, if you want to produce more than what you usually produce, how much will be per item after you produce your normal item? Okay, so it's the price, it's the cost of producing 1 extra item after you produce your normal amount of item. It's not the cost for 1 item, it's the cost for producing 1 extra item after you produce your total amount, what you needed. Okay, and you can find this marginal cost as, first find how much is the cost for your total amount plus that 1 extra item. Subtract that for the cost for producing whatever you usually produce. So whatever you usually produce plus 1, cost for whatever you produce plus 1 minus whatever you usually produce. That's your marginal cost. And in derivative section, we are going to learn that this is actually the maximum profit. We can use that to find the maximum profit. So marginal cost is the cost for extra 1 item. Average cost is the average of the overhead cost, which is the total cost divided by number of items. Your revenue is number of items times demand. Your profit is revenue minus cost. That's the 5 things you have to know. Okay? Any question? Let's do some example. Let's say we have a cost function to produce X item. And this is a quadratic equation. They are asking, find the total cost and the average cost of producing 100 items. So you're producing 100 items and you want to know what is the total cost to produce 100 items, and how about the average cost to produce per item. Okay. So our cost is C of X. Why the ink is so low? Okay, it will come. Cost is C of X, which is X squared minus 3X plus 2300. This is the cost to produce X item. They're asking what's the total cost to produce 100 items. Cost to produce 100 items. How do you find it? You substitute X with 100. All of this comes into 100. So looking for actually what is C of 100. So it's 100 square minus 3 times 100 plus 23. And you have to learn how to find this without using calculator. Looks bad, right? But actually it's not bad. Do you know what is 100 square? Good. So we have 2 0. When you square 2 0, it turns into 4 zeros. So 1 square is 1, and then the 2 zeros turn into 4 zeros. 0 0 0 0. What is 3 times 100? That's easy, right? 300. And then we have 2300. Now let's do this first. Our life will be easier. Positive 2300 minus 300. How much you get? 2000. So this is plus 2000, and we have 10,000. So I did 10,000 plus 2,000. 12,000. See, we figured that out without using calculator. Equals 12. So this is the total cost to produce 100 items. Next, we need to find the average cost to produce one item. So average cost per item. That means we need to use the formula for average cost. It's the total cost divided by how many items you are producing. So this time you're looking for the average cost for 100 items. So what's the total cost to produce 100 items? 12,000. See, we did it on the left page. The total cost to produce 100 items is $12,000. And X means how many items you're producing. So how many items you're producing? Huh? 100. It's over 100. Total cost to produce 100 items is 12,000. And how many items you produced? 100. So 12,000 divided by 100. What is our average cost? 120 per item. It means if you, as a mass production, if you produce 100 items, then to produce one item in that 100, it costs you about $120. Okay, that's the average. 100 item costs you 12,000. That means one item costs you about 120. The next thing is, how about you want to produce not 100 items, but 101 items? So what's the total cost to produce 101 items? Cost to produce 101 items. Man, why my handwriting is so bad? So basically you're finding 101. So how do you find it?
1,000.
Okay, so 12,000 plus what? 120. So this is what you think. 12,120. Okay, this is you think. Now let's see, is this correct or not? Normally, if you want to produce 101 items, how are you going to calculate the cost? By what? Multiply by what? So 120 by 11 or 101? Okay, I don't have the calculator. It's how much? 12,000 and then 120. This same as this one? Okay. Second guess. Third guess. Third guess. Normally, okay?
He texted me to say that, like,
He doesn't even have his phone. How did he text you?
texted me on his.
He doesn't even have iPad.
So you just plug 101 for the
That's the normal way of finding it, right? 101 square minus 3 times 101 plus 2,300. And now 101 square, it will take long. So I'm not going to use my brain. I'm going to use a calculator. 101 square. 10,201. 10,201 minus, what is 3 times 101? 303 plus 2,300. And now again, we don't have time. So let's see. Minus 303 plus 2,300. 12,198. Oh, it's much less than what you expect. So it's much more than what you expect, right? You expected it should be 12,120, but what do you have? 12,198. And this is the correct answer. You may wonder why I'm wrong then. Well, you are wrong because this is the average per item if you produce 100 items. But not you're not producing 100 items, you're producing 101 items. Remember, it's a mass production. Mass production has a different story than normal production. Normal production, you produce one by one. But in a mass production, you don't do that. You produce everything in a mass, right? So that's why you cannot use this method, the average. You have to use the mass rule. If you produce something in mass, they have a formula. Okay, the next one says, now we know to produce 100 items, it's 120, 12,000. If you mass produce 101, it's 12,198. So normally you produce 100, but this time you produce 101. That extra one, how much is the cost for that extra one? 198. That is what they're looking for in C. Marginal cost for one extra item. Marginal cost for one extra item. It's total cost of 101 item minus total cost for 100. So 12,198 minus 12,000 is $198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. 198. So if you produce one extra item, it costs $198. Now you may wonder, well, isn't it same as producing one item alone? Like, doesn't it sound like you're producing just one item alone? So if you produce only one alone, only one item, okay? So produce the cost for producing one item. Cost to produce one item only. How do you find the cost to produce one item only? Normally, how would you find it? To produce X item, the formula is what? X squared minus 3X plus 2300 to produce X item. Now you're finding if I produce only one item, then what should be the amount? 1 squared minus 3 times 1 plus 2300, right? That's the cost for producing one item. So 1 minus 3 plus 2300, which is 2300 minus 2. So 1298, right? 2298 is 23. See the difference? If you produce one item, it's $2,200. I mean, it's $2,300. But if you produce one extra item in a mass production, what's the price? You're only spending $198. So marginal cost talks about the mass production. In a mass production, if you want to produce one extra item, how much that cost will be in average? Where if you're finding C of 1, means if you produce only one item, single, not in a mass production, how much that would be? So they are not same. Do you guys see the difference between marginal cost and the normal cost? Okay. Next one. The cost for producing X unit is this. Find the average cost. Find the X is 2. What are you doing? Johnny, no phone. He doesn't have his phone on. You know, I admire your, what is called, elementary level of jokes. Like in elementary school, everyone blames others. Like they are angel and everyone else is devil. So you're here acting like I'm the angel and he's the devil one. He's bugging me. It's a joke. So what are you supposed to do in this question? Huh? So we have C of X is 5x cubed minus X. And they're talking about average costs. How do you find average costs? What's the formula? No. Total cost divided by number of items. So we are finding the average cost when X is 2. That means you are finding C of 2 divided by 2. Average cost. What is C of 2? 5 times 2 cubed minus 2 divided by 2. What do you get? How much? What is 2 cubed? 8 times 5. 40 minus 2. 38. So our total cost is 38 and we're dividing by 2. $19 per item. That's the average. Question? In the final exam, the average cost at least 1. So you need to know your average cost. The next question says, suppose the total cost is this. For what level of production will the average cost be 6? The total cost is this. But they want find the X for how many X? Your average cost will be 6. So how do you connect average cost with total cost? Any idea? How do you connect the average cost with the total cost? They gave us total cost, but suddenly they want us to find for how many items our average cost is $6. But they gave us a total cost. So how do you proceed? Six equals to the total cost, but the total 6 is the average cost, not the total cost. So how do you connect? They gave you total cost. Good job. Average cost is the total cost divided by X. And that total cost divided by X is your 6. So $6 is total cost, which is X cubed minus X squared divided by your X. They gave us the average cost as $6. They gave us total cost as X cubed minus X squared. And X is number of production, number of items. So 6 equals what? X equals what? X squared minus X. So now it's an algebra equation, that's it. How do you solve this equation? Good. Subtract 6 from both sides. So I don't have space, so let me do it here. We have 0 equals X squared minus X minus 6. There is a quadratic equation. How do you solve quadratic equation? Good job. Which two numbers multiply to -6 but combine to -1? -3, +2. -3 times 2 is -6. -3 plus 2 is -1. So we got it. So we have factors. The product is 0. So next. X minus 3, 0. X plus 2, 0. So what is X? 3. And X equals -2. Do we accept both? Do you accept both? Which one you cannot accept? Why? Item cannot be negative. There is no way you can produce negative items. Item can't be negative. So you cannot accept the negative x. Even though you got the solution negative x, but sorry, it doesn't work. So our answer, this is our answer. X equals 3. Give me your phone here, Jannah, so that he cannot text you anymore. Okay? Put your phone here. Real. Try the next two. The first one is easy. The second one, you have to use your brain. And let me take that consensus. Today is 10/17. Dominica, yeah. Salahuddin, absent. Arsla, absent. Maxine, here. Zoe, here. Jolene, here. Prince, here. Hayden, here. Ellen, here. Asir was here. Kylie, here. Alice, here. Jasmina, Alexandra, here. Jennifer, here. Jessie, here. Johnny, here. Afiz, Harin, here. Pedro, here. Erika, here. Erika, today you're not sleepy. Jawad, here. Ruby, here. Sayom, here. Dimitri, here. Amir, here. William, here. Siki, here. So 1, 2, 3 absent.
Oh, what do you do?
Figure it out. They give you cost, they give you demand. How can you connect them in profit? What is profit? No, in life, what is profit? What did you say? Money. How do you find profit? You need two functions. Which two functions you need to find? How do you find profit? Revenue minus cost. So they give you cost. So you're happy. Did they give us revenue? That means you have to find the revenue. How do you find revenue? What's the equation for revenue? You know what is revenue, right? What is revenue? You make, right? So you sell this pen $2 and you are selling 5 of them. How much revenue you have? 10. How did you find that? What did you do? What? What did you multiply? You are correct, but what did you multiply? Good. Price and amount of items. Now, they didn't give us a price. Instead of the price, they give you demand price. So how do you find revenue? Not the cost. Your revenue was price per item times number of items, right? Right? 2 times 5, 2 is dollar, the price, and 5 is the quantity. So here, they didn't give you a selling price, they gave you a demand price. So how do you find the revenue? Revenue is number of items times per a number of items times the selling price, right? Did they give us any selling price here? No. They gave us the demand price. They're same thing. So what's the revenue now? Come on, Johnny, think about it. Revenue is price times items. Now the price is the selling price. When you know your price, the selling price. Here, they didn't give you a selling price, they gave you a demand price. So what's the revenue? Cost is totally different thing. Cost is how much you're spending. You're losing them. Revenue means how much you're gaining. So how can you include price minus cost is a cost function. So the cost you're losing. Yes, the money you're losing here. The revenue is the money you are gaining. You're getting that. So how can you use cost to gain something? I mean, how can you use the selling price? I mean, the money you're losing, how can you use that to calculate the money you're gaining? You didn't take notes, right? Go back to your notes. I'll give you a formula for revenue. So tell me the formula. What formula you have for revenue? I gave you explicitly the formula. Revenue equals X times what? D of X. What is D? What is D? Good. So do you see a demand function here? So how do you find how do you calculate the revenue? What's the formula for the revenue? X times the demand. X is X. It's the number of items. The demand. When you know your selling price, your revenue is X times the selling price. When you don't know your selling price, but you have a demand price, then you multiply the demand by X. That's the revenue. And I have one more. And all of these are final exam. Sayom, why you are even here if you don't have your pen or pencil? You're not allowed to use your phone. So in our next class, if I see your phone, I'm going to take it here. You have to bring your physical paper and pencil, not digital. That's the revenue. But they're not asking for revenue, they're asking for what? Profit. So how do you find profit? Profit function is how do you calculate it? How? And what is R of X? Below your R of X, C of X, P of X, D of X, write them down what they are. R of X is the revenue. So in your notes, write it down. R of X is revenue. C of X is cost, D of X is demand. Johnny, write them down on your notebook. Below your formula, write them down. Past it. And I told you one of them will be from average cost. Past it. October 23. I know. And then Siam says, can you take it on Thursday instead of Tuesday? So we're going to start 2.1 on Tuesday. You want to take it Tuesday? Is there any reason for that?
Let him take it Tuesday without. Because we still got to do, like, we still got to do 2.1 on the board. She's gonna put 2.1 on the board.
We are going to do 2.1 Tuesday, but that will not be in the exam. And then Thursday, okay. So it's October 23rd, Thursday. Tuesday, we have to start 2.1 because we are behind. But 2.1, I'm going to just brush it off real quick. I don't want to spend more time. Okay, ready, guys? Then let's do them one by one. Who would like to help me with the first one? The cost is given. You need to find the average cost for 10 items, the easiest one. Who would like to try the easiest one? Pedro, I'm going to give you the hardest one or the harder ones. Because this is easy one. Give others a chance for the easy ones. Anyone else? Go ahead. Zoe. Average cost is, say it louder, there's a noise on top of me. C of X, and then? How'd you get 20X? Which one you are doing? This one? Oh, okay. No problem, go ahead. What it says, the cost $20 to produce, it costs $20 to produce each item, okay? With a monthly overhead cost is $600. So which one you're finding? Total cost. Total cost is 20X plus 600, perfect. And then total monthly cost is 5,000. What do I write? Equals 5,000, perfect. Because they're telling us our total cost is 5,000. So this one is easy, yeah. Minus 600, minus 600. So we get 20X equals 4400. Divide by 20. So we get X equals, without using calculator, you just cancel 1 zeros. And we get 220. And the answer is 220. Perfect. You got it. See, if you're lucky, you're going to see this type of easy question in the final. The first one. I think we need calculator for that because it's decimal. Any volunteer? $18.20 plus 50X. Huh? Oh. You're finding the total cost for 10 units, right? total cost for 10 units. So C of 10, 1820 plus 50 times 10 plus 0.3 times 10 squared. 1820, this is 500, and this is 0.3 times 100, which is 30. So 1820 plus 30 is 1850. 1850 plus 500. We don't need calculator at all. How much? 20 what? 2350. So I'll actually do it here. $2350 is the total cost. Good job. Now they're asking to find the average cost. If you're not done, you're average cost per item for 10 units. If you produce 10 units, then on average, how much is the cost for one? Huh? $23.50. Good. $235. That is correct. The average cost is total cost divided by number of items. Man, my handwriting is so bad. Average cost, the total cost divided by number of items. We found the total cost is 2350, and you're producing 10, so it's 235 per item. I should write per item. Per item. Okay, now Pedro. The last one.
So I did.
Revenue is X times demand. What do you have? Minus 100. Perfect. And they're looking for the maximum profits. I mean, the production level. The production level for the maximum profit. So what type of equation is this? What type of function is this? I know, but the type, linear, quadratic, 4th degree, 5th degree, which type of function is this? Quadratic. And what did I tell you just at the beginning of the class? For quadratic, maximum, minimum means what? Vertex. So it's a quadratic function. It means maximum means find the vertex. Maximum equals vertex. So what they're looking for, the x below the vertex or the y below the vertex? Good, you can identify that. It says production level means X. So X value of the vertex. How do you find the X value of the vertex? X equals what? Good job, negative B over 2A. So negative what? Negative 100 over 2 times negative 2. So negative 100 over negative 4, 25. And that's the answer. If they ask for find the maximum profit, they need to find the Y value. Otherwise, the number of items is 25. So study your review sheet very well. If you have any question, you can ask me on Tuesday. But Tuesday, we are going to start derivative, chapter 2. And your exam will be Thursday, October 23. And I told you what will be in the exam. The last date to drop the class is October 30th. Have a good weekend, everyone. Remember, Monday no school. So study also on Monday. Yeah. Maximum, minimum means vertex, and I told you that in the review sheet.
Okay. So this is 1.8.
1.8.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's I forgot.